Guess what, guys? You don't need to flush your semi-hydroponic plants. Because I don't, and my plants are thriving. In this video, I'm just gonna be doing a little bit of a show and tell and showcase my plants that are thriving, looking beautiful, and they have never been flushed. They're growing in vases without any drainage holes, and they look magnificent. I've never, ever flushed them. And for those of you who are like, what's flushing? Flushing is basically where you let all the water run through the drainage holes at the bottom of the pot. That flushes out all of the built up minerals and salts and things that are in water. You know, your tap water, because the water is treated. Also, fertilizers can have some buildup in them. And all that is true. And I do get some salt and mineral buildup on the top of the sphagnum moss, but I have not seen any short-term or long-term negative effects that have impacted the health of my plants. And I'm just going to show you guys the stunners. So, let's go. It's show and tell time, baby. So right off the bat, guys, every single one of these plants except for this jungle cactus right here, I believe it's a Ripsalis. I love that guy, he's great. He's like a fake plant, I never care for him, he's great. But all these plants are growing in vases without any drainage holes. They have been in my collection for many years and they're doing just fine. Okay, let's take a look at this big, beautiful boy right here. Now you might be looking at these little crispy edges on the leaves. You might be like, well, Jake, what is that? Is that fertilizer burn I see? Is that chemical burn, salt buildup? I see some problems. This is from the heat wave we had a couple weeks ago, because these were not on the plant for the 3 years I've owned him, and I've grown him in this vase. Well, not this particular vase, but just in vases like this. I've just been upsizing them over the years as he's grown, but this just popped up because of the heat wave, because he dried out a little bit too much. This is from under watering, guys, okay? But all of these leaves were looking just beautiful about 3 weeks ago, like literally flawless, when I tell ya. Now, one Anthurium that is looking quite flawless these days is this clarinervium hybrid. I love the sheen. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? This one I've had in my collection for, I think, I want to say a year-ish, a year and some change. I can't remember exactly how much. Haven't had him for years and years, but I've grown him only in, I believe, this vase. I don't think I even repotted him. And let's take a look at the roots. The roots are looking pretty good, I just gotta tell you guys. Now take a look at the green roots here. Sometimes roots will grow algae on them or whatever, but sometimes roots will also be able to photosynthesize. These roots not so much, but some of them have actually adapted to produce chlorophyll and photosynthesize. Ain't that just the bee's knees, people? So, kind of a fun little survival quirk that some plants have. You'll see orchids do the same thing. Their roots will turn green when they get wet because they can photosynthesize, guys. Isn't that just crazy? Anthurium hybrids tend to be hardier overall. This guy, he is a species as far as I know, but a very hardy species. I believe in the section Bellulancum. I'm not really sure how people pronounce it, but yeah, they're like the giant, you know, monster Anthuriums, and they tend to be pretty good as houseplants and very rewarding because they get so big. But this guy, clarinervium, it's not Cardiolancium section. Even though it's velvet, it's something else. This is not a pure clarinervium. It's clarinervium and like pterodactyl or macrolobium or I don't know. I bought it because I liked the way it looked. But guys, like, do you see this plant struggling? It's got 1, 2, 3 leaves with a 4th leaf coming in. Let's take a look, honey. Let's take a look. Oh, yeah. Oh, she is just looking shimmery and just too fabulous for school. What? No. Up here we have another Brownii, a little bit smaller, and again, dried out a little bit from the heat wave, a little bit too much, so, but still looks pretty much the same as the Brownii down here. And this is the newest leaf, and it looks fabulous. Growing in a freaking vase, never flushed, never, ever, ever. This is a Torum that, for the longest time, was growing actually in a terracotta pot, and I just recently moved him to fluval stratum, which I've done with many, many other plants. So he is very, very new in this setup right here. So he's not a good example, but I just wanted to show you guys that that's a new setup for him. But if we move down, 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 this guy, this philodendron adababoense, try saying that 10 times fast. Oh, he has been in this setup. Oh God. I mean, I've had him for years. Actually, you know, he was in a terracotta pot, just like the Torum, and then he actually got some dry rot because I just kind of underwatered him. And then I re-rooted him in water. I put him in some free draining substrate. I let those water roots kind of convert themselves into semi-hydroponic roots. So I think he's been in this setup for about a year or so as well, maybe a little less than a year. I've never, ever, ever touched his roots. If you look in there, actually let's bring him out in the light a little bit, because I want you guys to see the atrocity here. So look at all those roots. There are some dried up roots in there. As you can see, it ain't no thing. He really doesn't care. There's some rotted away roots. He don't care, he just puts out new roots. So yeah, oh, okay, so it's mostly leca. So the leca roots used to be water roots. I put them in leca. I let the water evaporate, and they converted to semi-hydroponic roots. I never flushed this thing. Never flushed it. And let's look at these leaves. Let's see these leaves struggling. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's struggling, guys. Definitely looks like I should have been flushing him this entire time. Not. How many examples have I done so far? This one is my beautiful Anthurium no ID that I call Black Swan. I made a whole bunch of babies with this guy. I self-pollinated him. Look at the blue and purple, that just oily sheen on those leaves. Oh my goodness. Whoo! If you're interested in purchasing a Black Swan cross with self, feel free to DM me on Instagram. They're not guaranteed to look like this. Some of them have different venations, some of them have different coloration, but if you would like a selfed seedling of this guy, then by all means reach out at Plantgate for Life on Instagram. I only have a few left. He's only got about he's got 2 leaves right now. This is the most recent one. He doesn't hold on to leaves for a very, very long time, probably about 3 to 4 months. Each leaf looks really good. And then after like 4 or 5 months, almost half a year, they start to crisp up a little bit. And usually this is from like underwatering. I tend to neglect him a little bit because I like to be a little bit lazy with my plant care. But I mean, let's look at his roots. Covered in algae. The roots are still looking mighty strong. Look at that right there. He ain't struggling. Check out this beautiful boy right here. This is Monstera deliciosa. This is the variegated monstera. It is the small form, but look at that leaf. You almost couldn't tell. Oh, his new leaf just popped out and it looks so white. Can't wait to see that unfurl and fill out. Now he did get a little bit hit with the thrips. That's what that browning is right there and right there. That's also what this is here. Also, I have let him dry out a little bit too much sometimes, so that's a little bit of drying out right there, because when I didn't let him dry out, these leaves were fine. That's how you know when it's an underwatering thing or if it's something else like salt mineral buildup. So I let him dry out pretty much, almost like an orchid. I let him dry out all the way in between waterings, and look, his roots are looking beautiful, guys. And he's been in here this was a top cut, if you can believe that. The mother plant was in this kind of setup for a couple of years without any issues. And then I made this top cut, was it earlier this year? So is it like, 5 months now? Can't remember. But there's another beautiful example right there. Yeah, does he look like he's struggling to you? Because I didn't flush his ass? Yeah, I don't think so. Let's look at some fairly new acquisitions. No, is that the word? Acclimation? No, not acclamations. Things I have gotten in the recent months. Sorry, guys. I don't know how to talk. I'm very presidential. Why are you even here watching these videos? You're crazy. You're all crazy. But this is Anthurium wenlingeri. I've had it for a few months at this point, so not tremendously long, but I mean, look, he put out this leaf in my care. He's putting out this leaf right here. He's putting out his very first flower, and he's looking just fine. Let's look at the roots real quick. Let's look at the roots. Oh, the roots look beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. Let's look at this guy. This is I'm gonna call him a CF Dressler. Oh, there's a, did you hear that? Someone with their damn motorcycle. I'm gonna call him a CF Dressler. I bought him as a Dressler, but he looks different than what a Dressler usually looks like. So I'm gonna call him CF Dressler, which basically means might be Dressler, but might be something else. But look, he's growing in ambient. He's growing in a plastic container. So, you know, the exact same science as a, this is so cumbersome, as a vase. But look at that, look at his roots. Can you see? Well, you know what, let me just take the whole thing out, hold on. Yeah, I mean, he looks just fine to me. Now these are known to be a little bit finicky and they don't size up very quickly, so that's why he's pretty small. Again, he's kind of new in my collection. This guy's also quite new. This is Kunailense crossed with Forgetii or vice versa that somebody shipped to me, which is very, very nice of them. It's just so pretty. It has that dark form Forgetii look, but it's a little bit longer. It's got a little bit of that Kunailense texture. Kunailense is this guy right here. I meant to say Kunailense color, you know, so it's got the Forgetii venation, the dark form, like those very, very thin veins, but then it's got that color, almost the same color as the Kunailense. Again, also a very finicky species growing in ambient conditions, in no drainage, looking just fine. I mean, guys, this is not the best example because he's one leaf, but this is also a very, very tough species to grow. Very, very finicky. So, you know, I mean, the fact that I have one beautiful leaf, I'm going to pat myself on the back and say, ta-da! But yeah, for all the naysayers out there, this is not the best example. Also Dressler, this one looks fine. Here are his other leaves. He's also growing in no drainage. You know, you might look at these leaves, you might be like, you know, he's not looking too good. Again, Dressler is a very tough species to grow, especially outside of a grow tent or a high humidity environment. And it's only like 50-something% humidity in here, so not a whole lot of humidity, guys. But I mean, I'm not gonna pamper my plants, so I'm just not doing that. Up here is a Anthurium or Black Velvet Eastern Panama. He's bouncing back from some neglect, so that's his first new leaf since bouncing back. This was his other leaf that is many, many months old, so not looking the best, but he's doing just fine. So that's on me, that's not the no drainage. Down there is a Papillolemonum. Again, bouncing back from a little dry rot from my neglecting, and I underwater my plants. It's a bad habit, guys. I gotta stop doing that. Oh, and let me show you over here. Woo! Guys, this is an undescribed species, Magnificum OA or SP Peru. Look at these roots. Yeah, you think those roots are struggling because I haven't flushed them? Yeah, I didn't think so either. Let's take a look at these leaves, guys. Let's take a look at the, look at how monstrous he is. He's getting big. Let's see that emergent. He's salmon color on this side. The leaves come in, this is so awkward. The leaves come in a really nice color, but I'm literally trying to do this one-handed. You know what, I'll put a picture on the screen of what they look like with good lighting. Oh, also this guy, Vitara folium, growing in a vase without drainage holes. He's doing just fine. It ain't no thing. Look how beautiful he is. Is he struggling? I don't think so. Is this Dressler here struggling? Doesn't look like it. I mean, again, not the easiest species to grow, and he's looking pretty good. Not too bad. I also have this guy here, who is a Portay hybrid, and his leaves look a little bit tired, and I think that's because he's putting out so many offsets. I'm going to divide him very soon. If I take off the offsets, his leaves tend to look a lot better, but he's putting out so many offsets that his leaves, these are like months and months old, so they get a little bit crispy over time from underwatering and things like that. Guys, I turn off the AC for 5 minutes, or however long this video is, and I'm just like already sweating. It is, what is it in here? It is, my camera died, so I'm just gonna use my phone to do this outro. Guys, I just use my phone for these videos. That freaking camera, the stabilization sucks, the battery sucks, everything about it sucks. I bought it for music videos, but now I use it for YouTube. I just use my phone. I don't know, I feel like it's not quite as good with the depth perception and the cinematography. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What does this look like? This is the selfie camera. So it's not as good as the other camera, the one on the other side, but anyway. So yeah, I'm sweaty right now because I turned my AC off for like literally 10 minutes. And now it's over 80 degrees in here, 0 airflow, so not very good. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to show you that you don't need to flush your houseplants. You don't need to flush them. I mean, listen, guys, I have no science behind it. I have no studies. I have no scientific facts to back up my statement. I have no experiments to show you guys. All I have are my plants that are looking beautiful, that I've grown literally, some of them for years in vases, or up to at least a year, most of them at this point, without any drainage holes. Now, I will say a big disclaimer, aeroids grow pretty fast, and usually I repot them every 6 to 8 months or 6 to 12 months, something like that. Just kind of depends on how fast they grow. The reason I'm saying that is because when you repot a plant, in a sense, that kind of is like flushing it, because you're taking it out, you rinse off the roots, you put it in a new vessel, you put fresh substrate around it. So you kind of are flushing it, or giving the roots some, like, I don't know, exhilaration or whatever. It's just like, in a sense, it is kind of like flushing. You could say that I flush my plants every time I repot them, which is every 6 months to 8 months or so, maybe a little less than a year on average for each plant. Again, it depends how they grow. The Dressler don't grow very fast, but the monstera grows really fast, and the Brownii over here grows pretty fast. You know what I'm saying? So it really just depends on what you think counts as flushing. But in terms of filling it with water, dumping it out, or like, I don't do that. I don't do any of that. So yeah, let me know if you flush your plants. Let me know if you don't flush your plants. I'm talking specifically about plants that are growing in vessels without drainage holes. So either self-watering pots, vases like I do, to-go containers. If you're on a budget, I do that too a lot, but I like it to be aesthetic if I can, and vases usually aren't too expensive. But yeah, I just want to show you guys that you don't have to flush your plants. I feel like so many people out there make semi-hydroponics and growing aeroids so complex. I see people with the CalMag and the frickin', what is that, like the Myco? The Myco's going around, and apparently it's great. Maybe it does something, maybe it works. I mean, I don't use any of that stuff. I use orchid fertilizer, and I use aeroid mix, and usually sphagnum moss, maybe with a little aeroid mix in there. Sometimes I use fluval stratum because it tends to keep the, what's that green stuff? The algae, keeps the algae at bay. Yeah, I'm getting so sweaty right now. I just feel like I'm so gross in these videos. People are probably like, oh my God, that plant gave for life. He's just such a sweaty, slimy, greasy, disgusting piece of shit over there. No, you guys are very, very nice. I appreciate you. So yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. So let me know if you flush or don't flush. That sounded weird, out of context. Yeah, flush your toilet. Don't not flush, because that's unsanitary. But let me know if you flush your houseplants. Also, let me know if you flush all your money down the toilet buying houseplants.